to A Woman's Worth talk show. And I am so excited this evening for my guest who's on. Before I introduce her, I just want to share a little bit about me and what our show is about. And then we're going to get started because we're going to have an awesome conversation this evening. A Woman's Worth talk show is all about empowering women. My platform that I have is about mending broken pieces. So I wanted to start a Woman's Worth talk show so we can have a platform so we can discuss some of the pieces that have been broken in women and talk about how we can empower women to change so they can flourish and live out their purpose. Because I truly believe that all of us are designed with a purpose in our life. So just a little bit about me. I'm Natalie, and I am the founder of A Woman's Worth talk show. And this is, again, birthed out of my own desire to mend my own broken pieces. You know, I started my journey of recovery 27 years ago. And along that journey, I picked up a couple of information about me. And then I wanted to bring that information on how I mend my broken pieces on a professional level. So along the way, I became an addiction counselor. And I picked up some other certifications because I truly know once you remove the drugs and alcohol from out of your system, we now have to begin to work on why we used it in the first place. One of the things that I want to share tonight, and I've never shared this before, So when I thought about having Johnnetta on, I was like, okay, it's time to talk about it now. And I haven't shared this with my children. I plan to have a conversation with them, but I'm okay with telling the world about who I am. I'm real transparent. And that's because I believe God has used me as an example how you can share what went on with you. You can share your traumas and you can be healed by expressing it. The topic that we're going to talk about tonight is partly childhood sexual assaults. And I want to say this real clearly. I usually spend very little time on the trauma. You know, it's important to discuss it. It is so important to express those feelings of the past, but even more so, it's important to figure out how can we move past the trauma and move on with our lives. Otherwise, we'll be stuck in the pain. And it's important to move beyond that. So one of the things that I asked Johnnetta to talk about is briefly her history of childhood sexual assault and her journey on the way from there to becoming Dr. Johnnetta McSwain. Johnnetta has had a journey in her life. She has so much to share. I'm going to read her bio. And guys, I asked Johnnetta, can you please send me a short bio? And I looked at that. I'm like, this the short version? So you can imagine the journey that Johnnetta has been on. I was like, I want to see this. I want to see this regular bio, the length of it. But it just speaks to you, Johnnetta, and the path that you have taken. And you're just an example of how you can go from trauma to triumph. You know, so that's why I wanted to invite Johnnetta on the show. But one of the things that I want to share in my own my history is that I have experienced child molestation in my life. And real briefly, because I read a lot about it, you know, when I research things, when I deal with my own issues, I do a lot of researching and you know, work on stuff. And even when I was researching today, I began to experience some of those feelings that came up for me. And this is not the first time I talked about it. It's the first time I just said it out loud on air. But I remember some of the feelings, and I can share this with you. And I don't know if Johnnetta can concur, who out there concur. It took me a long time to actually realize that I was molested. I couldn't even connect that this was molestation. And the reason is because of my shame behind it. And this probably took place when I was maybe 7, 8, 9, from a neighbor. But I didn't connect to it because for some reason I was getting attention from that man. And the price I gave up was my body because and I shared this many times before, because I was broken, because I had low self-worth, it was like somebody just loved me. And even if I traded my body for it, I wanted to get some attention. So not until I was much older, and I remember watching a talk show when they were talking about child molestation. And when I heard for the first time, when they said, even if you got something out of it, even if you got some kind of pleasure out of it, it was still molestation. And I was still being abused. And I was like, oh my God, I felt so guilty all these years and actually blocked it out because I said that childhood abuse of mine, that molestation, they weren't talking about me. And that day I said, yes, they were talking about me because I was 7 and 8 years old. I didn't know. I didn't know. And that I realized laid a path over the kind of relationships that I had with men going forward, because from there, and we always operate in our belief system either by what someone told us or showed us, or we kind of made up along the way. And I didn't have that person to show me, as a young girl, what I should or should not do, because who would think to teach a 7-year-old girl about, sex? But I can tell you, as a result, I started with my children very young. Probably my oldest daughter, I began at probably 3 years old, teaching about what's good touch and bad touch. I began early on. I remember when she was in nursery school, I would get books from the library teaching her what good touch was and bad touch. We went over that. So I did those kind of things as a result of my experience with that. So yeah, but I felt guilty for a lot of years that I did something wrong. So I didn't belong to the molestation crowd. And when I really actually did. And when I said it laid the path of how I connected with men, because I learned early on that, okay, if I want attention, that means I have to give up my body. That set the path for that. This is what I'm supposed to do with men. I'm supposed to give up my body to get you to like me. And it took me years and years to realize, no, there's other things beyond my body that I have to offer a man. So I just wanted to share that piece, because I know there's a lot of women out there who've had the same experience that I have. And I just want to share with you not to feel guilty if you derived any pleasure for it, or if you think you voluntarily participated in it. When you're a child, there is no consent at all. There is no consent whatsoever. So I wanted to share that. I want to now, I'm so excited. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to introduce Mrs. Dr. Johnnetta McSwain. And after she shares a little bit about her story and where she's at today, or whatever she wants to share, then we're going to open up the boxes. If anybody wants to join in and ask Dr. McSwain any questions, Johnnetta is somebody else who's transparent like me. We tell what happened. We tell what it is. It is what it is. It's what's happened, because we know it's going to heal us. And we know that's the opportunity for someone else to heal by telling our story. So I'm going to do this. So forgive me. And I'm not sure if I'm blocking the screen, because what I'm going to do is bring up Johnetta's bio, because Johnnetta has done so much stuff. There's no way that I can read it all. I can memorize it all, rather. I'm not sure. I brought it up. Can you guys still see me? Or is this blocking my view? Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, great. This is my introduction, or Johnetta's introduction to part of her life. And Johnnetta came from the mean streets of Birmingham, Alabama, from a GED to a PhD. Johnnetta McSwain is a sought-after author, a recipient of the Emmy Award winning documentary. The name of the documentary was The Road Beyond Abuse. Johnnetta is a development facilitator, consultant, behavioral coach, and international empowerment speaker extraordinaire. Yes, she tells it like it is, with wit and wisdom to empower, inspire, and ignite women and young girls to move from hopelessness to hope by becoming aware of their life cycles that impede them from taking action to reach their fullest potential in their life. Born to an alcoholic mother and an absent father, the odds were unceremoniously stacked against her, even as she drew near her first breath. By the innocent age of 5, she was viciously raped and sensuously battered by her 3 uncles while in the custody of her grandparents. After overcoming brutal childhood sexual and physical and emotional abuse and escaping a life of self-destruction that included unwanted pregnancy, high school dropout, poverty, prison, drugs, promiscuity, and death, at the age of 32, she relocated to Georgia. In 2002, she drove to Georgia. She rented a truck with her 2 baby boys. She packed her house up and she drove to Georgia. twice. Oh, actually, she drove. What she says is she drove to Georgia twice in one night to make it from Birmingham, Alabama to Georgia. And at the age of 33, she entered college. 3 years later, she earned a bachelor's degree in communication from Kennesaw State University. And most people know if you've been to college, normally it takes 4 years to get a degree. Johnnetta has done it in 3. After she earned her bachelor's degree in communication from Kennesaw, at the age of 38, she entered a master's in social works program, the MSW program at Clark Atlanta University, which happens to be my baby's school. She's a freshman at Clark Atlanta.
Yes,
shout out to my baby, Johnnetta. In 2015, at the age of 45, with hard work and tenacity, she earned her PhD in social work policy and administration at Clark Atlanta University. She travels worldwide to encourage and empower women and young girls by sharing her story of triumph and survival, love and loss, redemption and forgiveness, and self-love and self-worth. Her message is loud and clear. Yes, you can rise above all your scars.
Absolutely.
With that, I am bringing Dr. Johnnetta McSwain on, and she's going to take it from here to share about her journey. And here we have Dr. Johnnetta McSwain.
Natalie,
so honored.
That was so great, girl.
That was your story. That's
short, huh? You know what?
That's Virgin guys.
I want to say to you, Natalie, thank you. Thank you for sharing. One of the reasons why I do this, I tell my story, I share my story, is because I want to give other people, other young girls and other women permission to be able to tell their stories, or to even think about it, to even admit that it happened, because the very first step of healing comes with admittance. This happened to me, and so that's the main reason why I do what I do, is to help the healing process, is to help us say to ourselves and to the world, to our family, that this happened to me. I was touched, I was rubbed, I was molested, I was penetrated. That's hard to do. Although I've been doing this for a while, it's never easy. It's never easy. You'll never forget it. It's always going to be there. You're just not. But what you can do is you can live. You can take your life back. You can love again. You can fall in love again. You can have good relationships. You can soar. Yes. So that's the whole point of rising above the scars. And yes, you can, baby. Yes, you can. Yes. The school, going to school was really an opportunity for me to become valued. Because see, I had no value. When you're abused, you are raped of your essence. You're a little girl, you don't grow up and have your little secret, because your vagina is your secret, and so that's been taken from you. So you don't know how to love it, and again, Natalie, you're right. You think something wrong with you. You think it's your fault. You think, but for me, it was normal. I really thought that was normal, that maybe this was happening to everybody because it was a secret. Mm-hmm. And so we have to break the silence and take the power from the secret. And that comes with admittance, saying this happened to me. And then I think it comes with big mama, that this happened, or, Uncle Baby done this to me. And I think that's where people get stuck at now, is I can't dare say this about mama. Yes. I can't dare let the church know that this happened to me. What if my neighbors and my family knew, and especially my kids? I remember before I moved 14 years ago here from Alabama, talking to my 2 sons, telling them why we're moving, explaining to my oldest son I haven't been a good mother, explaining to them that I'm sorry, I want to be a good mother and I'm going to make it up. So that was tough. So again, overcoming childhood sexual abuse is the most, to me, it's not talked about. Recently, we just got a name for it. CSA, child sexual abuse. That's the name of it now. So I think I want the people that's listening, I want you to know, all my ladies out here, I want you to listen to me very careful, okay? You're not alone. It's 1 out of 3 women that has been sexually abused in our lifetime before the age of 18. Usually by a family member, someone you know, a family friend, a neighbor, a church. It's just what it is. However, what happens is we grow up and become adults with this baggage. And we continue the cycle. And we can't figure out why we're depressed, why we're hurt. And then Natalie said it so well. Thank you, Natalie, for saying this. We grow up and then we go into abusive relationships, don't we? Because we don't know that this relationship is abusive, because nobody has shown us that. Nobody has shown us what a healthy relationship is. What is, I grew up, let me just say this. I had a mother who was an alcoholic. My mother would get drunk. My mother carried meat cleavers. My mother was the most violent woman you ever met in your life. I watched my mother cut a man's throat until his guts fell out. I watched her burn a man, shoot, cut, stab, you name it, I saw it. I went to jail with her. It was horrific. To think about it, it just makes my skin crawl. My mother constantly reminded me that I was ugly. She told me constantly that she'd never wish she had me. She would take my head to put in the commode and say, I should have killed you, bitch. I should have flushed you down the commode. So I'm saying all this to say, what was normal? So my sister got old enough to leave the house, get married. Of course, what happened? Abusive relationship.
Yes.
So again, we never saw education. My mother was a maid who made $75 a week. We grew up in the church. Anything you did outside the church, you're going to hell. And you don't tell anybody. You shut up. You suck it up. I just heard someone tell me the other day that when they shared that they were being abused sexually, that they were told, just pray to God and ask God to help you. And I was like, oh my goodness. So again, what I want to say about childhood sexual abuse is that it's never too late to break the cycles. If you hear me, ladies, it's never too late to love yourself. It's never too late to take your life back, change your life, forgive your perpetrators. I think that was the biggest thing, the biggest piece of healing for me was to forgive my mother. Now I didn't say I forgot. I said I forgave her because I need to do that for myself. However, there was a lot of pain. Of course, Natalie knows my story more into depth, but being the first doctor in my family, generational.
Yes.
I'm so grateful.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I asked God 14 years ago when I moved here, Natalie, whatever you do, please don't let me take my last breath until my 2 sons see me walk across that stage May the 16th. That was my prayer. Because I wanted my 2 sons to remember their mother as a hero, as a legacy, as a someone that they could be proud of, Natalie. And I wanted my 2 sons more to go and take this cycle to keep the tradition of education in their family. So I'm gonna stop right there because somebody may want to say something there because you're not gonna go on and on. But ask me anything that you think that you want to know.
Sure. If anybody wants to join on, please call in now. Jump on. We have a couple of people on. I think I see who I see. I think I see. Yeah, Llewellyn's here. Jump on. Like Johnnetta said, we could talk forever, you know. But this is also about other people healing. If you want to, this is not a requirement for you to jump on. So I'm gonna give a minute or two, and I have a couple of questions I wanted to ask Dr. Johnnetta McSwain if no one wants to jump on. So come on, if you want to jump on, join in. Well, I'm going to ask Johnnetta a question of you. Oh, we have somebody calling. I think that's Llewellyn. We have somebody calling in. Okay, here she goes. Here we go. Are you on, Llewellyn? Hold on, let me click her on. I think I'm cute now because I can work this blab a little bit.
Yes,
This is my 5th show. I'm excited. That was a mess day one. But here she comes. Llewellyn, oh, here she comes. Hey, Llewellyn.
Hey, Llewellyn.
It's going to take a minute for her to pop on. Isn't this amazing, this blab platform? This is just awesome how we can have this talk show online. Yes.
I see Llewellyn, but I don't hear.
Yeah, she's still trying to come on. I can see her coming on. And sometimes it takes a few minutes, depends on your reception.
Okay.
But as Llewellyn is trying to pop on, and she'll get there. If she pops on, you can answer the question after her, Johnnetta.
Okay.
One of the things that I was going to post today, and I did a video today, and I didn't have a chance to air it, but I'll probably do it tomorrow. One of the things I talk about is the difficulty of talking about trauma. That a lot of people don't want to acknowledge it, like you said, and they want to say, well, it happened in the past. I'm going to move on from it. And one of the things I shared in my videos that you don't move on from pain that you have not expressed. What happens, it will come out in some other ways that it's unhealthy. So the importance of sharing things. And I always share this because I know that my posts are really, sometimes to people, is really difficult to hear because I'm always posting about issues and traumas and difficulties and addictions. And sometimes people don't want to see that.
That's true.
Sometimes people prefer to talk about, what's going on in their family, which is good because I do that a little bit. But they rather send messages to people, then I'm gonna check you on Facebook rather than deal with the issues that's going on. Because some of the posts that I see on social media, Johnnetta, you can see the anger behind the posts that people are lashing out on each other. And because I am a counselor, I always look deep, like what is going on that you are that angry on Facebook? That is an example of unresolved anger. That's what happens when you don't deal with feelings. They don't just disappear.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of angry people on Facebook, but they're more comfortable doing that kind of thing as opposed to coming in the conversation and say, and they don't have to do it on Facebook or inboxing or reaching out for help and saying, like you said, admitting that was me. I was molested. I was sexually abused. I have an addiction. I have this going on. People don't want to talk about that. And there's a downside to people not talking about issues. So Johnnetta, how did you get to the point where you have become comfortable, and you and I use the same word, transparent with the traumas that happen in our lives? How did that happen for you?
You know what? I think, Natalie, the reason why it's so hard to talk about, and it really is, because when you talk about it, you have to own it. And when you own something, think about that. When you pay off your car for 7 years, right? You own it. You get your title, it's yours, you own it. And then it breaks down and then you got to get it fixed, because you own it. When you rent a house, you call your landlord, okay? When you buy a house, you call the plumber. It's a totally different, and that's what I'm saying. So as long as you don't have to talk about it, Natalie, or you don't have to remember it, then you don't own it. It doesn't, and you can stay so separated. You're not connected to it. But once you open your mouth and you say, you know what, this happened to me. I was abused. But then again, I hear people say I was molested or I was assaulted, but they would never tell you how or what happened, because still there's a blockage there. And so when people ask me that question, which is a great question, is how do you talk about it? Natalie, I promise you, I thought that, what are they talking about? When people would say to me, you're so brave to tell your story, and I thought, what do you mean I'm brave? I think this is nothing to do. But yes, it is. Now I understand that I am brave. When I meet women who look me in my eye and say, I just cannot say it. I cannot tell my story. I cannot talk about it. It is too painful. And so if I talk about it, then I have to own it. And then guess what happens is, and I think another thing is, we don't realize what anger is for. Anger is an emotion. It's a perfectly healthy emotion. It's okay. Am I right?
Yes.
It's okay to get angry.
Yes, you are.
It's an emotion that we're supposed to use to keep us healthy. You know, so sometimes it's okay to get, you have a right to be angry when you've been molested and hurt and raped. That's okay. That's normal.
That's right.
Angry. When you look at the documentary, The Road Beyond Abuse with my sister, she's angry. And you know what people say? Why is she angry? She has every reason to be angry. You know, so again, I tell people all the time, it's okay to be angry. The problem, Natalie, you don't stay angry. That's what's unhealthy. It's when you stay angry, right? So what's healthy about it is saying, you know what? This happened to me. Somebody has to tell this story. See, Natalie, if you and I don't tell our story, how can we help heal a nation of our sisters, our young girls that we see out here? How can we help other women to be able to say, that happened to me? But most of all, how can we help our women take their beauty inside? It took so long for me to think I was beautiful, because all my life I was called ugly, voodoo, Scarface. But when I look in the mirror today, girl, I see all this love and internal peace.
Yes.
I feel like a bird. I'm so free. I have no secret.
Yes.
I'm so raw, so real, so open. And I'm so grateful for that. I really am.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Thing. I want to get Llewellyn, if you can go out and come back in, because she's trying. I'm gonna kick you out. That's what it's called. The term is kick out and come back in, Llewellyn, because I know you have something to say. And Janelle, I want to say hi because I see you here. One day I'm gonna get Janelle on the show. She's an advocate for domestic violence. So hey, Janelle, I see you.
Hey, Janelle.
And I really trying to get Llewellyn on. Try to go out, Llewellyn, and come back in. But yeah, you're right. One thing you said, Johnnetta, that it's so freeing when you admit. But I also understand the difficulty of telling your story, because I kept mine a secret. Not only the child molestation, but even my addiction. I didn't want anybody to know. I spent years trying to paint a picture like everything was fine. And once I got the courage, and how I got the courage is other people who went through the same thing that I went through dared to open up and share their story. And little by little, it gave me the courage.
Yes.
But before I became free, I lived in a prison with these secrets. And I was so ashamed.
Yes.
Now, my God, thank God I am free, that I can tell my story without any shame.
Yes.
And actually, by telling all my flaws and all, I have so much confidence, because now I know there's nothing that anybody can take away from me.
Yes, right.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
Sharing my pain is freeing me. Yes. I don't know if Janelle, Llewellyn's going to come back on, so we'll give her a couple of minutes. Johnnetta, for some of the viewing audience, and there's some people just not going to be at the point that we are in telling our stories. And I don't expect anybody to, because one of the things that comes with telling your story is that you got to be okay with the judgments of people and how they see you. You got to be okay with that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there's an other side to it. And again, because I built up my self-esteem, it doesn't matter what you say. I'm good. But if you're someone who has not built up your self-esteem, maybe that's not a good thing to tell the world. It happened for me in baby steps. In baby steps. Because remember, I'm 27 years in recovery. This is the first time I announced it. I talked about it with people, but this is the first time I said it. So it takes baby steps.
Yes, it does.
I don't know. Llewellyn's trying to get on. I don't know what's going on. She usually gets on. It takes baby steps. So what do you suggest for somebody who really does want to talk about some pain? They want to take that step, but not get on a blab and not announce to the world, this is what happened to me. What do you suggest they do to begin that journey of healing?
Again, Natalie, the number one thing you have to do, and this is the truth, is become self-aware that it happened. And sometimes it's not talking to you or talking to me, But sometimes it's just saying this happened to me. Sometimes it's just writing it down, getting it out of your gut. I always tell people, if you can't say it out loud, say it. Say it in the bathroom. It's like a thing in the shower. Write it down. Allow yourself to feel it. It's okay to cry. It's okay. When I knew that I was abused all my life. I never talked about it until I got about 30s. I knew it happened. I knew my uncles happened. Mm-hmm. But what happened for me was when I woke up at 30 years old and I realized that I had nothing, no job. The man I had wasn't my man. I was on Section 8. Mm-hmm. I was poor. I had 2 baby daddies, 2 little boys. I had nothing, Natalie. And I realized at that time in my life that I was a victim of abuse. These uncles done this to me. And then I set off to say, how can I keep my 2 boys from being perpetrators? I didn't know how. I didn't even know where to go with this. And as I moved to Atlanta, I still didn't talk about it. And until I got into my master's program at 36, I met my mentor, who I began to just talk about, Johnnetta McSwain. Who am I? What was my purpose? What did I want to do? What else I was in Atlanta for? I was searching for something so deep that I didn't know who I was. And so on my quest to find me, to find my purpose, that what God wanted me to do, why I moved here, why I came here drove here twice in one night, because I still didn't know. But when I sat down, I started talking to my mentor, and I began to talk about me. And I began to talk about my abuse for the very first time at 36, around 35, 36 years old. And I didn't cry. I talk about it, I got sad. People around me cried. But my real gut busting cry was when I sat in the movie theater to see Precious. The documentary, of course I cried. But it wasn't until I saw Precious. I cried my eyes out. The entire movie. People in the theater was like, you okay? People was like, are you okay? But I'm just saying that to say, it's okay to get your feelings out. Find somebody you can trust. Find a therapist, find a counselor, and be ready for people to tell you, oh, girl, please, that happened to me. Just pray about it. Why are you talking about it now? That didn't happen to you. Just things like that. Just be prepared. Like you said, Natalie, everybody's not going to welcome you, to welcome your story, to welcome your transparency. And that is the truth. Absolutely. Another thing I tell people all the time is that be prepared not to get an apology. People, she didn't say my mother has never said she was sorry to me. Never. She said she'd rather die than say she's sorry. And isn't that sad? And so what I'm saying is, she can't say she's sorry, because if I say I'm sorry, then I gotta own. I gotta take responsibility that I wasn't a good mother, and I allowed these uncles, my brothers, to do this to you. And so again, you may not never get I'm sorry. You may not never get I did that. But what you have to do is start your own process of healing. And what I mean by that, first of all, start loving your JJ. See, I'm serious, because we don't know how to love our body.
Come on, girl.
Because once you've been raped and robbed and taken, you don't know how to love your body. It's not beautiful to you. How can something be beautiful for you that's so ugly? Someone asked me, a young girl that's in sex trafficking asked me a question. She said to me, how can you get the pretty out of ugly? How can something that's supposed to be so pretty is so ugly? So I had to learn to stand in the mirror and tell myself I was beautiful. I had to get my teeth done over. I had to work all the way on me from head to toe. And that, Natalie, is a road under construction. It's under construction.
Yes.
And take one. It's like you said, it's like an addiction. You got to take one day at a time, right, Natalie? Baby steps are always going to be steps. I'm every time I tell my story, it's like a boomerang. It comes right back around to me. It heals me. It ignites me. It makes me feel like a winner, a hero, a shero. So again, everybody's not gonna. This is a subject that people are not going to raise their hand. to talk about. It's just not going to happen.
I have a question, Johnnetta. You said something so powerful. And one of the things I had to do on my journey, you used the word forgiveness. And when you use the word forgiveness, the first time you were speaking to forgiveness in a way to support yourself. There's been many times over the years that I've counseled people, when they hear the word forgiveness, they think what they're doing is letting the abuser off the hook. They think if I say I forgive you, that means I'm allowing you not to take responsibility for what you did. And what you said and what I believe is forgiveness is letting us off the hook.
Yes.
Because we have all this pain we're carrying and it lets us be free. So I learned to do that with some of the things in my life and say, Natalie, this forgiveness is really about you. It's not about letting the person off the hook. So that was so powerful when you talked about forgiveness.
Well, Natalie, another thing is you have to forgive yourself.
Yes.
We have to first forgive ourselves. Am I right? We have to forgive ourselves. That's one thing that we just kind of skip over as well. And when I mean forgive yourself, I mean, because at some point in our life, we have to take accountability, which is my favorite word. You know, it's one of my favorite words, accountability. And so there's a point in our life where we have to look at our own behavior, okay, and not blame, because it's so easy to be the victim. It's, you know what, now the easiest thing in the world is to be nothing. It's to be a failure. That is so easy. It takes no practice to be a failure. The hardest thing in the world is to take accountability of where we are in our own lives. It's so easy for me to say, my mother didn't want me. My 3 uncles raped me, gave me syphilis, left me on the porch to die, left me in the bushes, put my head in the commode. You know, it's so easy for me to be the victim. I can just say, the rest of my life is that I'm going to use that. But forgive yourself. Right. Forgive them, because guess what, Natalie? My mother and my uncles were victims as well. It is a learned behavior. And that's why you have to break the silence from the secret. Because the secret is what's holding the power. And it keeps you.
Yes, come on, Johnnetta. Say that. Say that.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I meet so many women who write me letters, but they can't say it. But that's okay. Because what happens is, as women, society has told us, you're a woman, okay? There's the shame that's associated with it, Natalie, what you said, that you're a woman and that we're strong, right? So we wear this big S on our chest all the time. Because we gotta just keep it together. Just get over it. Just keep it moving. That's what we're told.
God, come on, Johnnetta.
And then you know what we do? We go to church and we have these wonderful ministers in our church that say, just take it to Jesus and pray about it and give it to him. Reality, it goes nowhere. It goes in the pit of your guts and it stays there. So now you're wondering why you can't have a good relationship. Why? Who tells us what healthy relationship looks like? Who tells us what a good, I don't know what a good man looked like. Did you? I don't know. A good man.
Come on.
A good man.
Come on.
What's your definition of love? You don't know that. So again, abuse cripples us.
Yeah.
It keeps us stuck.
Yeah.
It keeps us angry. It keeps us the victim. It prevents us from loving our kids the way that we wasn't loved. It prevents us from getting a higher education, like you say. It prevents us from getting that butterfly. It prevents us from wearing that Wonder Woman. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Big hair, done that. So again, the transparency, it's not going to happen every day. It's not many of us, Natalie, that's going to share. The ones of us that does share, we're still not ready. So I'm so grateful that there's no shame. There's no question that you can ask me. I'm just absolutely flying high like a bird. And you know, let me just say this for an end. Sometimes when people say to me, I went to my reunion, 25th reunion in Birmingham, you know, I dropped out. So somebody was whispering, is that Johnnetta McSwain? She dropped out, girl. And I said, you know what, honey, you can read it on page 10. So that's what I love about me. I always tell people, girl, she was a hoe. I really was. Go read it in the book. So again,
because we told it first.
Yes. So once you release all of that secret that you're ashamed of, girl, please.
Yes.
You can stand on the mountaintop.
Absolutely. Hey, Johnnetta, there's somebody on the side, single rider 4. And I don't know if that's a man or a woman, but what they said, what he or she said was, if a mom refuses to apologize, then that mom is wrong as wrong. Now, when I read that, I can understand where that person was going to, because the mother's not apologizing, because I'm going back to when I was so angry with my father growing up, but not for other stuff. And I wanted him to apologize to me. And I remember having a conversation with him because he got into recovery. And I was like, okay, if you're in recovery, I'm going to sit around and wait for you to get to that step to tell me you are sorry for not being there. And my father never did that. And then I realized that it wasn't because he was being so mean, is I don't know what, it's because he wasn't ready to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Because it was his pain of guilt and shame. Not only that, now if my father would wind up being an alcoholic, that means he has some stuff going on that came from his parents. So there are not going to be people out there that's ready to deal with this stuff. So to expect them to apologize, it took me a time, and that's single rider 4. It took me time to realize my father wasn't not apologizing because he hated me or he was angry with me. He just was not ready to face his own stuff, which had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I had to go on from there. At that point, I let go of expecting him to apologize to me. And you said that when you talked about your mother, Johnnetta, that she's not in the same place as you. She wasn't ready to deal with that. And there's one more thing I want to say, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Johnnetta, or whoever wants to jump on. Oh Lord, I just lost my train of thought. Jesus, I was about to say something so powerful and forgot, Johnnetta, that was so important.
What I want to say about the forgiveness.
But you want to continue, it definitely will come back to me, because I wanted to bring that up.
To the person who says that, if you concentrate on an apology, okay, you may not never get that, and that keeps a lot of people stuck, like my sister. If you watch The Road Beyond Abuse, go to YouTube and watch The Road Beyond Abuse. It's my documentary of my life and my sister. She's 47 years old, and she wants my mother. She's still a little girl, and she wants this love from my mother, and she wants this apology. It is never most likely is going to happen. So the biggest thing I've learned from this is people cannot give you what they don't have.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. They cannot give you. My mother couldn't love me because she couldn't love herself. So you have to. That's why that forgiveness is so important. Am I right, Natalie? That forgiveness is so important, because guess what? I love my mother the best I can. But I think for me is that this woman who's battling her own monsters, right? She's battling her own monsters. She have to own that her little baby girl was viciously, sexually abused and beaten. And that she cannot own. Because if she dies, she's already had 3 strokes. She probably will go ahead on and die.
Yeah, exactly. Johnnetta, we have Erica on the line. And I remember what I wanted to say. I want to briefly say this, and we're going to go right to Erica afterwards. What I wanted to say is that the reason why it was so important for me to recover myself, like you used the term breaking the cycle. I didn't want my children to suffer from addictions. And if they did wind up suffering from addiction, I want them to know that there was a solution to the problem. And the way I did that is by opening up my mouth and having dialogue with my children. And I say that that is another reason I wanted to take the risk and break through the shame of telling somebody, because I needed, like you, to break a generational curse. And if I kept my mouth closed and I didn't say anything, how am I going to save my children? Because when you look at trauma, it doesn't just begin with us, Johnnetta. It began with our parents and parents before them. It's a generational thing. So I wanted to break the curse, not just for myself, but for my children. So that's another reason why I said I got to say something. I gotta
Yes.
save my kids
Yeah,
and my
and trust
grandkids.
me, well, Erica
Yeah.
is on. Erica, want to say something?
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey, Erica.
hey,
Hey,
I had to make sure that I could speak without crying. Is what took me so long to come on. So, because your story is,
thank
and
you.
it's real, and that's the scary part. It is real,
Yes.
and it still happens to this day. So, you're a survivor. I mean, there's no other. You still have the S. I'm sorry. You still have to wear that S because you're going to be a survivor until you're no longer here,
Absolutely.
and then you are going to be that legacy.
Mhm.
So, just hats off. And your mother didn't apologize, but I apologize that no one was there.
Thank
at the
you.
back.
Thank you so much, Erica.
Okay.
And this is epidemic. This is global.
It
I've been to
is.
8 countries, and I'm literally now negotiating, talking to Trinidad, St. Vincent, Trinidad, I think 3 other countries I'm going back and forth with now because of the epidemic in these third world countries. I got one guy called me from a third world country, and he was telling me that the men are the biggest perpetrators with the little boys. And I mean, and it's just
And
that,
yes, that's why I put that on the side when you said you were talking about your sons not becoming perpetrators, and I put or victims.
Absolutely.
Because yes.
It's so
Yeah, and
that was my goal. That was my 14-year vision of saying I got to do something because my mother had 6 brothers, and 4 out of 6 has abused me and raped me. And so I thought to myself at 30, oh my goodness, what if this happened? What if my 2 sons, pick this up, this blood, this curse, this demonic, because that's what it is, and go out and do the same thing.
Exactly.
And I was so afraid of that. And I think Natalie said it. I was even more afraid of my 2 boys becoming adults, sitting in a circle, talking about me. What I didn't do for them, I didn't protect them, and I was just petrified that my 2 to be honest with you, how could your blood relatives do the things to a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old that is so horrific, and go to and think it's okay, and again, my sister, when you watch the documentary, who was paranoid schizophrenia, who's been stabbed, who's been shot 5 times, thrown out of cars, ribs broken, who's HIV, you name it, suicidal. Then my boy cousin, who's just got out of prison for 13 years for murder, prison, crack. He went down. So it's just me, love. So why me?
Jeez.
So why didn't I go down that road? Why didn't I suffer? How am I standing today, sane, in my right mind? Who has raised 2 boys to be one is in college at Kennesaw State, his 2nd year, and one is graduating in December with 2 bachelor's degrees. So again, my whole message is, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can do it. You can break those cycles. You can turn it around. It's never too late. I'm 46. I started at 33. Been in school 11 years. And so
congratulations.
Raising 2 little boys as a single Black woman before I got married.
Yes.
And keeping them from prison, drugs, baby mamas. It was tough. It wasn't tough because I knew that I had to be a role model. Because my mother was not I didn't have a role model. My mother never told me she loved me a day in my life. She never hugged me.
Wow.
One day in my life. Ellen just bought me my first Easy Bake Oven. So I can't wait to bake my little yes. So I'm still living out my little girl fantasies. I'm still going to the skate ring for the first time, riding my bike, you know what I mean? Playing with my first Barbie doll. That's who I am. So you can take back your childhood. You really can. Take it back. You have to take control. You know what? Sometimes, Erica, people now think, who is that bitch? Who's this supposed to be? And you know what I say? You know
Come
what
on,
I
girl.
say?
Yes, yes,
I am a queen.
yes.
That's it. That's it.
And what you
That's
see
it.
is someone who paid the price to love herself.
That's
Look in
it.
the mirror and see
Yes.
absolutely radiance
Yes.
and beauty. And that's what I
Mm.
want to give
Yes.
my ladies and my little girls who think I'm ugly. It's over. I had a baby. I've been raped. I've been robbed. I dropped out of school. Nobody wants me. I can't love myself. Yes, you can, baby girl. Yes,
That's it.
you can. You can love all of you. But now, when you become this Wonder Woman, you're gonna lose people now. You're gonna lose people. See,
Yes.
people that see. I went through all of that. What's wrong with so and so, so and so? I went through that PD girl. Now I didn't realize that your circle changed, your people change in your life. But
Yes. Yes.
and that we still have to reinvent ourselves. Like Natalie is so true. You got to be better than good. You have to be great.
You have to.
You have to be great because we have to keep
Yes.
reinventing
Yes.
ourselves to be great. Society is there. I have a felony,
Absolutely.
and it took me 7 years to get a pardon.
Mm-hmm.
And still to this day, people, who cares? Who cares? So you're constantly reinventing yourself. You're constantly proving who you are. And if you're not ready to do that, then you're not ready to walk this walk and to be out here in this journey, because the world is the world. Unfortunately, Natalie will tell you, there are people who say to me, Erica, I want you to come speak, but don't say this, because it's too raw. And I say to them, how do you dress up abuse?
Yo, come on. Yes. Yes, Johnnetta.
I'll wait. Like, hey, I'll wait for the answer. How do you dress it up? How do you make abuse pretty? Good question, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
It's taboo.
Hey, Johnnetta, we got a couple of minutes left. I would love for you to share, because Johnnetta has not only, like me, we moved from victim to survivor to overcomers to advocates. Can you please share? You kind of briefly share some of the things you're doing, and as much as you've done, can you share where you are? Where are you with the area of sexual assault? What have you done, and what are you doing, and what's in your future?
Of course, I've done a 12-step model. Because when I was in school, I noticed that we always learn from people, pioneers that came before us. And I said, well, what is a Black girl? How can we do our own model? So I wrote a 12-step model. And that model is all about self-awareness, number one. All about to become aware you're in a cycle, something is wrong, and how to get out of it. That's number one. And I just done a workbook, because I realized that sometimes it's so much information that we can't contain it. So now here's a workbook where, instead of you talking to Natalie or me or saying it out loud, you can pick that workbook up and write your cycles or whatever. That's number one. Number two is I'm doing a new book, and it's called Yes You Can, Baby. And I'm getting ready to do a tour. Well, my vision is to travel to different cities and countries. I want to get the microphone. I want to get on stage, and I want to tell us women and us young girls, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can beat it. You can break it. You can get rid of it. So now, since I finished the PhD, one of the biggest things that I'm praying about now, Natalie, is I want to open up a center for women who has been abused as children. There's nothing out here for us. There's domestic violence centers. There is some addiction. There is a few sexual assault centers. But there's nothing out there for women who have been sexually abused as a child. So there's nowhere for us to go to deal with our trauma, Natalie, to deal with us being a woman now.
Excellent.
So that's one of my biggest things. But to write this new book, to do this tour, to do a number of workshops that help women tell their stories. That's what I'm getting ready to do now. Natalie's a part of that. I'm getting ready to do a training, June the 10th, a 2-day training to help those women who say to me, I want to tell my story, but I don't want to hurt Big Mama. I can't say this because it was uncle or it was somebody in the church that did this to me. Help me get that out. Help me tell my story. So I'm doing a workshop now, and the name of it is The Right to Write, R-I-T-E, Your Own Truth. So I'm just so excited. I'm just about to burst.
Hey, Johnnetta, if anybody wants to book you to speak, how can they contact you?
Let me see how to say this. I'm at JonnettaMcSwain.com is my website. Or you can just email me at Johnnetta Clay. That's JOHNN, two N's, ETTA, Johnnetta Clay, CLAY at Yahoo. That's my personal email, and I answer every day. And just go to my website, JonnettaMcSwain.com. You can see my writer. You can see places I've been to speak. Some people don't know what they want me to speak about. They just know we want to do something with you. I think the thing is money. A lot of times we can't afford you. And a lot of times I say to people, how do you know that you can't afford me? Let's talk about it. So, so you can reach me. You can watch the documentary. The best way to see the documentary is to go to YouTube and put in The Road Beyond Abuse. See the story. See my sister. See my mother. Go back to Birmingham, Alabama with me. See it. It won an Emmy. It's a phenomenal documentary.
Wow.
And we're now in negotiating of the movie. So I'm excited.
Wonderful.
Yes. So we're negotiating of a movie now.
Yes.
And that's going to be, I think, big. I want the world to get this story. I really do. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Johnnetta,
that is awesome.
I want to thank you, Johnnetta, for coming on. Johnnetta is, you just mean so much to me, Johnnetta. I'm so proud.
I love you.
You're an example of man to take the risk and go inside, and you don't have to do it openly, that you can overcome, not only overcome, you can soar in your life. Because Johnnetta hasn't shared everything. Yes, she has won an Emmy Award for a documentary. She said that. She also said she's going to write a book, but she didn't share she's already
Oh my goodness, Rising Above the
This is not the first book she's writing.
If you want to buy the book,
she's already in the
the book is on my website, Rising Above the Scars. I think that book is you should get the book, Erica.
Johnnetta, can you just check in the chat and is that the right URL that I put in there?
Yes. That's right. No, you left the N out. You left the N out.
I left a what?
An N out.
I did?
Yes.
2 N's in Johnnetta.
Oh, I'm okay. That's why I said check it. That's why I said check it. Hold on.
Yeah. In addition to that, I want to add that Johnnetta says she was going to travel. Jannetta's already traveled around the country, nationally and internationally. She has not shared all the things that she's done.
Natalie, I'm just messing up. Yeah, Natalie.
That's okay, because I got you.
Yeah, and I'm getting
in addition to that, for guys
conferences. But yeah, my goal is to go international. Is to go as big as we can go with this. I want to build a committee. We want to mentor women. I have a lot of mentees. You, Ellen, who's been trying to call in, is literally someone I'm mentoring. I just want to do. I want to help women live, like Natalie said, not only mask the pain, but soar. Not only get up every day, go to work, and come home, but I want you to soar. I want you to be successful. I want you to live, breathe. We don't do that. We don't do that.
Yes.
And you're Johnnetta, you are here in the Atlanta Metro, right?
I am in Atlanta. Erica, where are you?
Wonderful. I'm right up the street from Kennesaw. As a matter of fact, my baby boy has graduation there tomorrow from high school.
That is one. I'm a Kennesaw girl now.
Oh, congratulations to him.
Thank you.
Right.
Get him out. But if you need any help or whatever, just I'm right there on the side. You can get me through Natalie. Anything.
Okay, Erica.
I have a story to tell, but we're on a tight time frame, so I'll leave that alone. But it falls in line with today's topic. I just had to make sure I wasn't gonna cry when I came off. I know mine is bad for me, but yours is even worse. So I know what I had to come through. So I can't even imagine what you had to come through.
But we came through, girl.
Thank you, ladies.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Natalie.
Unfortunately, I got to end the show.
Okay.
I got to end the show, but after tonight, because I was trying to decide whether I need to expand this from 1 hour to 1 hour and a half.
Part 2.
I think I'm going to move it to 1 hour and a half, or maybe 2.
Okay.
Part 2.
Because I've been having some powerful ladies come on, and we've been having some great conversation. So maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
No. I was saying
Johnnetta.
I was saying part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah, bring Johnnetta.
Absolutely, part 2. Definitely. Because this is a topic that needs to be spoke about. I know, Johnnetta, you'll come back on. And thank you, ladies. I appreciate you speaking. Janelle, I see you on the side,
Yes, ma'am.
single rider for. Thank you for joining in. Ellen, I don't know what happened tonight. Was trying to get you on, but we'll fix it next week. I don't know. I'm so sorry we didn't get a chance to get you on. But ladies, thank you. Look forward to the recap of this show. And as ladies, as usual, I give you homework assignments each week. And today's homework assignment for the next 100 days, I am doing a self-affirmation challenge. So if you can do ladies, this is a self-affirmation. This is not an affirmation for you giving it to somebody else. This is about loving ourselves first. So if you can post a self-affirmation for the next 100 days, at the end of the 100 days, I'm going to select somebody to co-host this show with me. And we'll get together, and I'm going to allow you to choose the topic of the show as a result of your participation in this 100-day self-affirmation challenge. And I'll repeat that again on Facebook and Instagram because I want women to heal. And it's important that we begin to love ourselves. So thank you, ladies. It was a great show. And we will have a part 2, Erica.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody have a fun and feeling happy Memorial Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.